This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Rob and Sakura. Hey, what's going on, guys?
I hear there's some people that missed me out there last week.
Hey, CJ was trying. He tried to come on.
He was ready. He was
pay
ready
his
for you
dues.
to say, I told y'all.
He was ready. He was willing. You just weren't willing. But, we're here tonight. Let's get things moving. Maybe CJ will jump on at some point. We can revisit all that. All right. Most of us probably would have expected this from this weekend, but Amanda Serrano just utterly destroyed Hardy. Face really distorted by the end. Hardy crying. She knows, this is one of her last fights from the sound of it. I don't think she fully retired, though, guys, did she?
No, she hasn't.
I think it's definitely going to be I can see her fighting again, but I think she knows that this was probably like the height of what it's going to be.
Yes, and I have to give all the praise to Amanda Serrano for making sure that she at least got one good payday before she does retire. What kind of woman actually looks out for another person in this way when they don't have to? There were many other opponents she could have taken, but she was like, you know what? My girlfriend ain't made no damn money, and we had some wars, and she's on her way out. I need to make sure that she at least gets one good payday in her career. And I wish other female athletes would feel this way about other soon to be retiring females that were before the surge of women's boxing and didn't really get any good paydays, but got all the scars from the hard work and the boxing. I just hope that this is a good trend. Now, as far as Hardy is concerned, she did not have an answer for Serrano. We all knew that this is what was going to happen. But it was a scrap. It was a good old fashioned ass whooping. That's Amanda Serrano made her earn every damn penny she received. I mean, it was beat down. But I just want to say that at a certain time in a boxer's career, especially when they've had so many hard wars, like Heather Hardy, you want to give her props and let her ride off under the sunset. And if you're her family, you say, you know what? It's time for you to sit the hell down. We are not going to let you do this no more. Somebody needs to step in, because I am hearing that she is not done. That she is still wanting to fight a few more fights. And I'm like, why? You're not going to ever make as much money as you made with Serrano. And, you're just taking these, just serious blunt force punches, and you're not going to benefit from it. I feel like it's time for her to definitely retire. She has so much more to offer, a whole new set of youth that come into her Gleason's gym, come into her. She trains and helps train others. She doesn't need to be doing this.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of hard to see her take that beating. It was a bad beating, and like we said, Amanda Serrano is kind of friendly, at least towards her. I can only imagine what somebody that with some bad intentions would have done. Rob,
Right.
You're a little quiet on this.
So Serrano and Hardy actually are friends.
Yes.
That was the tip the topic of discussion after this fight. I'm actually proud to see that women's boxing has finally evolved to the point where we can see a fight like this happen as a highlight to somebody's legacy, like Shakur said. This fight was because they were friends. Serrano wanted to get her a payday and wanted her to go with a lasting fight, to kind of end her legacy. And I'm very glad that we got to this point with the women's boxing right now. I feel like that's something that's needed. As far as Hardy goes, pivot. Please pivot. You could be a model. Be a model for the sport now. Be a model for the sport. Promote your fighters. Go out there, promote other boxers, promote Serrano, promote these big women's fights that we have coming up. Be a commentator if you want. Get your face out there. You're still a pretty girl. You didn't get beat up that bad. You're still a pretty girl. Pivot. But this is what I want to see more in this sport. And I'm glad we evolved to this point. To where we can see a legacy builder type fight like this to allow Hardy to pivot. There's no need for any more fights. You got the face, you got the name now. Pivot.
Well
Yes. Pivot is the correct word. And shout out to her for giving us some great fights over the years. I mean, she really if one thing she can definitely teach the next generation of fighters is how to have freaking heart and not be deterred, because that's her.
I know that's true. All right, let's talk the main event there. Jake Paul getting a unanimous decision against Nate Diaz. What's left to say? Nate, I know you were older, and I knew you had a boxing background, but it looks to me like you did not use any of that for a very long time. He was not ready for any kind of boxing match, let alone Jake Paul, who actually is trained by some pretty good trainers. He wouldn't have been ready for just a random state of the mill amateur, let alone somebody who's got some seasoning under him. So
Right.
Jake Paul just kind of ran away with that one. It really didn't see much growth there, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was like, damn, Nate, you just came to get the bag. I mean, he just wanted the damn payday. He didn't even like. And then Jake Paul, I'm like, damn, I think I did see improvements with him. Like with each fight, you see he becomes a little bit more nuances. And he learned from his fight with Tommy Fury, for sure. He learned some tricks. So, I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, Nate was faking. He was hurt bad a few times and he was faking it, acting like he was, showboating and stuff. And when he was showboating, Jake Paul was just standing there looking like he's a viewer too. And it's like, no, Jake, this is like, you don't know his fake. He really is hurt right now. You supposed to know that this is when you need to go after him because he's really hurt. I mean, he played it out so well. He walked away and then he came back around and looked at him and stuff like that. First of all, in a professional bout, it's supposed to be when you turn your back on your opponent, that's like giving up. Like the fight is over. So I was like, well, when is he gonna call him out? And that never happened. But Jake Paul, I'm seeing some improvements with him, and he was talking about either a Fury rematch or he was talking about another Nate Diaz fight in the MMA. So I'm hoping that he goes for the rematch with Tommy.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would want. I don't want to see him join MMA. Well, maybe I do. Maybe he would get caught on MMA and go.
You just want to see him get his ass beat. That's all that is.
A little bit.
But I told y'all he's a big boy. Remember when I was telling y'all how thick his arms and stuff are? Like he just naturally a big guy. And you saw it like in the ring. Like that's just how big he is. Like it's like, dude, what are you really gonna do with him?
Rob, you were hiding off screen. What's up?
Who gives a shit?
You did.
No, I do not. Jake Paul has demonstrated enough skills in the sport to be fighting real boxers, real fighters.
He tried
Follow up the Tommy Fury fight with another boxer. Maybe somebody of a lesser touted. Maybe even go into a rematch and I would have rather seen that fight. Nate Diaz has never boxed professionally like this in his career. Not like this. He might have boxed, but not like this. What pisses me off even more is that ESPN and them were there for all the clout. When a fucking week ago, we actually had the best boxing matchup of this era.
Well,
Why
on
wasn't
paper, it was the best matchup.
Hold on. Why wasn't that on ESPN 24? Why
You know
wasn't
why.
that on ESPN promoted heavily?
You know why.
Why wasn't
Exactly.
it?
You
You
do
know
why.
why. Think about it. You know why.
Why wasn't it?
You know.
This is
yeah. You
fake.
actually know.
You know.
This is fake.
It's not because the fight wasn't all that. The matchup wasn't all that. It's because they're not ESPN. They're not a top ranked fighter. Top rank is in bed with ESPN. So therefore they're not going to cover.
Stop that shit.
Yeah, they need
Please.
to, but I'm saying they're not going to cover premier boxing champion fighters like that.
ESPN and the Disney Network is in talks right now of actually having a worldwide ticker where they cover all sports on their platform. No matter what time of day, what time of night it is, they want to put a ticker up on their site and on their programming to cover all sports. Why? Because they want to be what they claim to be, the worldwide sports network. So if that's what you want to do,
I don't believe it. I still don't believe it. They gonna cover boxing 24/7. You saying? I don't believe it.
They want to cover all sports
because they be picking and choosing what boxing events they want to cover at all. Like I don't see how they gonna cover. I don't buy it. I'm not. It's a great catch line though. But I mean, I don't buy it.
So
they want to, and I believe the ticker will happen. But if you're talking about promoting other fights, if you're talking about other fighters, the ESPN fighters are going to come first, right? Them top ranked.
So
fights
I'm not finished with my rant on ESPN and all that stuff.
They should put the priority on their own, boxers, no doubt. But when you're not covering enough when it is a mega fight.
Exactly.
Like you look bad. You still look bad even if it's not your fighters. You still look like people like Rob. They're gonna be like, you should be covering this too.
In a major way. Major way.
PBC does the same thing, right? Do you remember when PBC had a fight and then they just pretended like Terrence Crawford didn't even exist? Like he didn't have a belt.
One time.
He didn't have nothing.
I remember.
They helped lead into that issue. But my point is this.
None of them should be doing it.
Right. You shouldn't be hyping up. I shouldn't have 20. And I had probably at least 7 days or 6 days worth of coverage for this damn fight from DAZN, ESPN, all this crap being thrown out there. And,
I just want to know, when did DAZN and ESPN team up like that?
Right. It's not worth it because what you get is you get a fighter. I'm going to call him a fighter now because he has skills. He has skill sets in the sport. But he's not fighting other fighters. So to me, this is ridiculous to call this an actual true fight.
But it's the numbers game. I mean, they covered it because the numbers were huge. That's why they were covering it.
An exhibition, and that's what it was. So to me, Jake Paul don't have skin in the game right now. He doesn't. He doesn't have that at all.
But you need to understand that was like an MMA boxer versus a boxer who is also an influencer. Like those are huge numbers. Any media company is going to want to be able to cover that if they can, because the numbers show that there's people interested in it.
No,
the problem we have with regular boxing is the numbers do not show that enough people are interested, that there's not enough fans interested. That's the problem. It's not really the media's fault.
4 years ago, when Ryan Garcia first got started in the game, these influencers throwing out these exhibitions would probably be live on Facebook.
Right.
They didn't have no skin in the game. So I'm mad at ESPN. I'm mad at DAZN. I'm mad at all these people throwing all this money at these fucking guys to give them this shot. I mean, you look at ESPN, what do? They go and fire Max Kellerman, a guy that's one of the best boxing analysts in the game. Why? Because he's smarter than the other guys, but he's less dramatic. He covers the facts. He doesn't cover the drama. He doesn't have stupid ass opinions like Tim Bradley does at times.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Stephen A.
Or Stephen A. You know, Stephen A doesn't, let's be honest, Stephen A doesn't know shit about boxing. He knows
But people like to watch him talking about boxing. So that's, I mean, is that on ESPN or is that on the audience? The audience is showing them that they love Stephen A, whether he's talking about basketball or whether he's talking about boxing. So that's how that happens.
But that's how you mislead the public. This is how you mislead the casuals, because Stephen A is the men know his basketball. I can't deny that. I know he knows a little bit of baseball, and he can cover a few sports. But like Rob said, Max Kellerman is a boxing analyst. Is a pure analyst of the game. And he understands.
And a historian, also a historian too.
As well. And when you have somebody like Stephen A, which has all the credits because he's been with ESPN, he already has the trust of the public, then I'm sure he can chime in and throw, a few 2 cents like anybody. But he's so far from reality. He's so far from what actually goes in boxing, what things are. And, one of the things that I saw that for me was like, man, this guy should stick to talking basketball. When he talked about like Errol Spence retiring just because, the loss. Hey, I get it. Like, the whole thing is we choose these champions and we make them go against each other at the top. Then when they're giving us the fight that they're giving us, then we're so easy to write it off. That sounded like a casual fan that probably never seen, doesn't know who's Oscar de la Hoya, doesn't know who's Shane Mosley, probably doesn't know who's these names from back in the day, and you tell him like, oh, this guy should retire. He doesn't know shit about boxing himself, but other people that don't know about boxing, they're probably going to agree. There's like 80% of people that watch TV.
All right, Javi, but time out though. Only devil's advocate thing I can say is, but he's at least excited about boxing. Like he's at least a sportscaster that is actually excited about boxing and wants to cross market, right? Like we got so many of these sportscasters, and I'm looking at them, and they don't mention boxing at all. It's like that sport doesn't even exist in their mind. Like at least he's a fan of boxing and is actually excited about it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No,
I mean,
hold on. I got you.
I'm just saying. I feel like at least he's actually interested in boxing and can bring a different audience to, reminisce and bring them over to watch boxing when they haven't in a long time.
No, but he's biased. He doesn't like the sport necessarily. He likes and covers certain people. When Floyd was at his prime, he covered Floyd. That was it. Right. Now Bud is up here and he's covering Bud. That gives you a false narrative in this sport that only a few survive, only a few matter, and the rest don't. So
that's what you say every week. Every week you say that like the fighter that loses, you usually say he ain't shit. That's you. You do this. Okay. So like, what is you say? I'm telling the truth. You're laughing, Lucas, because you know it's true. Oh, he's like the one that's saying, like, yeah, it really is only a few survive. But when you got these mega fights, and that's what the casual fans want to see. Like that is what they're gonna focus on. But my point is, it's kind of like Jake Paul and them, where at least he's bringing eyeballs to the sport, like that would not normally be watching, and that's what we
So
need right now. I know it hurts that we're not getting those in-depth and analytical thought processes from the sweet science standpoint, but we are at least getting fans watching boxing when the sport is almost disappeared. I bet
so
you in all of y'all hometowns on your local news sports section, they didn't mention anything about Bud Crawford versus Spence. That's where we're at. That's our landscape right now.
so so
Boxes all but going
I
in the
I'm probably what ESPN needs in terms of Stephen A. Smith, because I'm saying they ain't shit, but at least I'm actually covering those boxers in those fights. Stephen A. ain't, okay. He's not. He's only covering and has knowledge about a few fighters, and that's it.
Well, I mean, Javi, at least he admitted that he actually do say that boxes ain't shit.
He did. He did. I mean, he be having his Stephen A. moments in here sometimes. I get him, but the whole thing is, I feel like the guy, because of he's been with ESPN so much and he has all the credit. The public, the casual fans are familiar with him.
Right.
My issue is when if you can speak about something and you give your opinion from your knowledge that you might have, I understand. But when you want to present yourself as an expert, quote unquote, and you want to go deep into of something that you have no idea about, then that's what my issue is, because now you straight up misleading the public. I'd rather you say, hey, I don't know much about this, but this is my opinion. Now I get what you're saying, as far as like bringing a crowd to watch the sport. But let's be honest here, this whole YouTuber thing, this whole thing is I think it's like more of like selling the fight, promoting the fight, and the man has a way to go about it. He's a bit dramatic in a way, so he has a way to sell something to make it seem more fun. And like kind of like when guys get to the barbershop, they talk about sports and they become so passionate about things, and they talk about their teams and all this stuff. So it's kind of like that, but at the same time, it's like when you have somebody like Max Kellerman, Jim Ladley, or just like ourselves, when we start kind of like noticing the things about the game and noticing a few things that it might be unnoticeable by the naked eye, then you can give a public a better insight of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the whole YouTuber thing, I'm with it started as something that should have been an exhibition. But the whole thing is like, I don't know. He was about to go be ranked, and if he would have beat Tommy, I think Jake. So that would have put him in a position to be like fighting some actually for a title or something. Knowing the WBC is itching to give that man a title and get some sanctioning fees, and we all know that. And they're not gonna stop until that happens. And hey, the kid is doing his thing. I don't know.
Jake Paul, I'm for hire, baby. Put me on your team, dog.
Okay, so
Nobody else wants to give a black woman a chance in the sport. So Jake Paul, put me on.
Let me end it by saying this. My final thought to end it. YouTubers should stay on YouTube. You can make a shit ton of money that way. Stop taking our actual outlets that we have for the real sport and using that to your advantage now, where the real boxers and fighters out there risking their lives can't make the necessary money that they should.
Yeah, I gotta somewhat echo that. I've been sick of the YouTubers for a long time, but essentially this is like, okay, you all remember Michael Jordan, amazing basketball player. He wanted to be a baseball player. He really, even with all that extra stuff, all that extra people he knows, he didn't really do that, right? He didn't make it there. So now all these people think that Jake Paul is there. You know what I mean? Because boxing isn't like you don't have to make it on. You just have to be able to get paid. That's a pro boxer, right? So everybody puts him, especially the commons, in this thing where, oh, Jake Paul made it. He didn't make shit. You know what I mean? I could be a pro boxer tomorrow. That doesn't mean anything. It's not like he's competing. And like you guys were saying earlier, there's only a select few that actually matter in every sport, right? NFL does like a top 100. You think Jake Paul can go out there and compete with those top 100? No, he's not going to be able to compete with the top 100 in boxing either. He is not at the top of this. But he's allowed to believe and have the persona as if he actually is some good boxer. He lost to Tommy Fury, guys. And he will lose again if there's a rematch or anybody that's even close to that echelon. He will lose to. That's just how it is. But he's allowed to have this persona as if he's, some world beater when he's just knocking out old ex-MMA fighters.
100%.
And you know what? Said, Lucas.
So
the whole thing about it is, if anything, it exposes the business, dark, greedy side of boxing. If anything, these YouTubers, what they're doing is they're exposing that side of the promoter, the networks, that if there's money involved, and they don't care, they're going to put a circus, if they're going to put a clown show. If there's money involved and people are going to get a check, they're willing to do this type of things. So in a way, I'm not even mad at the YouTubers. Hey, if you can clock some dollars doing whatever you need to do, go ahead, by all means. But I'm not looking at them taking advantage of the situation. I'm looking at the people that are in charge that are allowing them to take advantage of the situation because they want to, they're being greedy. It just shows that side of boxing.
For sure. And, he does do some good. I don't want to say like everything Jake Paul does is bad. Obviously, he's done some good for women's boxing. And he does try to put on and get some people some paychecks. But let's face it, when he fights, he's bringing the wrong kind of attention. Right. If he wants to stand here and be a promoter, I think that would be amazing for boxing. If you want to promote and be a little jackass on the side and do your little promotion that way, I think he could be an excellent promoter, and I think he could get some good changes there. Let's see. William Hunter says he looked like he carried Diaz. He could have got put out in the second round before the knockdown. All the awkward turning from action. That would have killed the interest in the MMA second hustle. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I said. We came to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah.
But real quick, Lucas, though, because we got to change topics. But Jake Paul, you said without boxing, you be dead or in jail. You a Disney prodigy, boy. You ain't had that lifestyle. Cut that shit out.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Like, what? Like he grew up in the streets or something. Like, dude, you had an easy life. What the fuck we talking about here?
Guys, I mean, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's about where you're at now. And the guy has put in a lot of hard work. I think y'all are really getting on him a little bit too hard. And guess what?
He has a YouTube following. He's not.
No, he never once said I'm the freaking. He never once said I'm better than Mike Tyson or I'm better than Holyfield. He never once said that he was on that caliber as a fighter.
Yes, he did. He called out Canelo.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going after Canelo if he that's a big money fight. He ain't doing no different than any of the other boxers that's out here. They want Canelo money. But what I'm saying is, if he's entertaining people and they want to pay for it, then they just paying for it. Like that's not for you guys to decide he shouldn't be in the sport because he hasn't done it the traditional way.
He shouldn't be in the sport because he's not fighting people that are inside the sport. That's my opinion.
Real quick, and we're gonna switch topics, right? I brought up the football thing as an example, right? Are we gonna see Jake Paul catching touchdowns, right? Is he gonna be up there with Justin Jefferson? No. But he wants us to believe that. He just wants to make that money. Meanwhile, he's going to be out there looking like shit. That's what it is.
I don't agree. But, I mean, let's move on.
Next.
Let's move on.
All right. Let's talk Helenius stepping in to take on AJ, and of course, the whole failed drug test again. Javi, I see you shaking your head. Speak on.
Man, first of all, the whole White. I mean, White. I don't know how many rematches White been having for the last years, but that's a lot of rematches. He's given these opportunities. Um, hey, I'm not sure what's going on in the camp, who's in charge, but when things like this happens, you sometimes we want to be so easy to point a finger and be like, oh, this guy's cheating, but it could be a situation where maybe things were out of his control. Who knows? Now, when you put Helenius into the equation, like last time, I think it was the same thing. He kind of came as a last minute replacement for Wilder. I might be wrong, not sure, but we saw what happened. And if this is part of okay, let's have a common opponent between both of them to see there's a fight between each other down the road, then I'm fine with that. But I'm not sure where in the rankings is Robert Helenius at. But hey, I don't know what was that all about. Not sure what last minute thing was all about.
Helenius is a decent fighter, but he's taking too many bumps already. Wilder knocked him out, in my opinion, should have knocked him out of this type of event or this type of matchup. I understand you have to do what you have to do, but even seeing AJ fight maybe an unknown fighter, to me, possibly could have been better in this scenario because let's face it, AJ still has a lot to prove. And Helenius is not going to do anything different than what we've seen him do before. It's a perfect matchup for AJ. He's going to be able to walk through this, whether it's a 12-round fight, a full 12 or 10-round fight, and it goes to decision. AJ takes it home unanimous. If AJ's able to knock him out, he takes it home. Either way, as far as Dylan White goes, there's issues. There's issues that this man just cannot stay in shape for a fight without the supplements. So he probably
don't even dare call it supplements. Let's not do that.
Without the steroids, okay?
Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Without the drugs, period. He's at this point you could label him a druggie. At this point.
The real question is, why is he allowed to even continue, right? Ban this man from the sport. Make an example. Why is it keep allowed to just continue? I'm just going to keep popping until I don't pop, and then I'm going to fuck somebody up.
I mean, he keeps getting away with it in certain fights. That's why he keeps doing it, because there's some fights that he's probably been still doing it, but he got away with using it. And then it was the time he got caught, but then, Eddie Hearns kind of was able to appeal it, and it went away. So there's a couple of reasons why he continues to do that, but he really effed up this time because you had a rematch with Anthony Joshua, which you did have a great fight with, and you almost won. You rocked him, and it would have been a really amazing matchup to finally see that rematch. So he's probably never going to get that fight again. And then on top of it, they replace him with the Helenius, which Wilder just knocked him out. I'm just like, okay, what are we looking for with AJ? What benefit does he get if he beats a Helenius now? I don't see the big benefit in it, but that's just my opinion. I mean, maybe some of you guys want to see, what AJ can do with a Wilder past opponent. I mean, is that what I'm missing here? No, somebody help me.
No, I think they were just like, we don't want to lose this event. Let's just grab someone. Oh yeah, I remember Helenius stopped that one dude that few times ago, and that's basically what they did, the Kaunaki. And they just ran with it. He's still making money off that Kaunaki win. it don't make sense to me. I don't understand why that equals all of a sudden we can see him fight Wilder, and now we're gonna see him fight Anthony Joshua. The guy's he's 40, right? I mean, he's got to be up there.
Well,
And he
let me
wasn't even
say,
sturdy against Wilder. So why are we
And
going to see him
well,
knock out
can I
Ross?
say one thing? I
Go
did
ahead.
like I was talking to a heavyweight today. He's 16-0. Okay. And it's kind of like the landscape isn't that deep when it comes to this heavyweight division. So
but
every time he wins a fight, his ranking goes way up. So in like 2 more fights, he's gonna be like a solid contender. And actually, by the way, he's on Will Hunter's card. That's this weekend in Biloxi, Mississippi. If anybody's in that area, they can grab some tickets offline. But he's gonna be fighting this time. He'll be 17-0 if he wins this weekend, and it'll be 17 KOs if he does it the way he normally does. And he's getting crap offers from people, I believe. I mean, listen, they want to continue to keep using the same guys over and over and over again that they know we don't even have the question of who's going to win. Now, for Helenius versus AJ, now that's subject to what you think AJ actually has gained from Derek James, right? Like, we're all interested to see what improvements he could actually do with AJ that would make the outcome of this fight different, or at least look different. Because even if AJ gets the win, he still needs to look impressive in order for people to want to see him against the Wilder again. Because they messed up a lot of money, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like there's a lot of reusing heavyweight competition instead of
that's the problem.
using other people for fresh faces.
Right. And that's the problem, in my opinion. To me, that's the problem. I don't want to see Helenius in this. And you guys right. They're saying that the landscape in the heavyweight division is bleak, but that's because we don't see any heavyweights getting featured out there, because the heavyweight division is not what it once was. So in this division, you definitely need to stop torturing fighters who lose and give them these bigger fights. I want to see FA in these types of fights. Hell, they had a Cuban fighter that beat FA as a heavyweight. I ain't seen him in a meaningful fight since then. You have Jared Anderson coming up. You have these new guys that need to test the waters in this division. Also, we need new, fresh faces right now in the heavyweight division. We need new faces.
Yeah, both of you are right. And there's always, with every promotion, it's a clear A side taking on a clear B side, and in this expansion it's no different. They already assume Helenius, he'll get dropped, and if we're lucky, somebody will remember and actually think he has a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Does he really even have that though, guys? In this kind of a fight, this isn't a Kaunaki, you know what I mean? This is former champ, somebody who actually beat Vladimir Klitschko, and has been already at the top of the sport. Do we think Helenius still has that puncher's chance?
Yeah, why not? I mean, that's what boxing's all about. It's about that chance, that opportunity. Sometimes you can be the heavier puncher and you still, somebody can be totally outboxing you and you just bam, one punch and they out, We done seen it too many times. So yeah, of course he still has that opportunity.
Sound like you agree too?
Yeah, I can agree with that. Anybody that gets in there has a punch and has a chance. But, according to your skill level, sometimes that chance becomes low, or that chance could be higher. We all know that his chances of doing that are low, but he still has it. My issue is kind of like, what they were pointing out, when it's like, you have some fresh meat in there. You have some fresh young lions in there that are, they have built some type of a brand, of a name, and they it's more of a challenge for you. It's more of like it's gonna keep you sharp, or it's gonna show what you're made of. Now I get it; it's a last minute replacement, but honestly, it's like if everybody was not really excited to see that rematch,
Yeah.
imagine how excited they are now to see that against Helenius.
And this is why I encourage people to not watch.
Drop the mic. I just dropped the mic.
Because if you watch, then they're just gonna keep feeding you the bullshit. You got to turn that shit off. You got to not buy the pay per view. You got to
Right.
stay away from it. And it's I sound bad because I'm basically telling you to not support boxing, but that's not what I mean. I mean, don't support shit boxing. Support the good stuff. You should have bought Spence Crawford. You know what I mean? You got to buy it when it's right. I bought it. I bought
Lucas,
it. I'm one that promotes streaming sometimes. I promote buying that fight. Go ahead, Sakura.
No, but Lucas, I mean, we're talking about AJ here. So, like, we don't know where he's at.
That's true. I mean, that's fair. You're right.
I mean, it might be a really exciting, amazing fight between these two that's more competitive than we think that it should be, because he used to be he's a former world champion, AJ.
That's right.
But that's not necessarily the situation, because he's looked different depending on his opponent. So,
and dare I say, mentally unstable.
Yeah, that was like, what the fuck was that?
I mean,
I forgot.
Joshua ain't been right for a little bit, right? I mean, he got
I don't know what that was.
2-3 fights where
but
he like wanted to give him props, but the same way he was like, "Oh, you ain't shit." Like, what?
Y'all are right about that. Y'all are right about that, but you got to look at the writings on the wall in this one. This is a full camp. I don't remember when the last Usyk fight was, but he's gotten way more time under Derrick James now. Remember, he's under Derrick James' is tutelage. So he's gotten way more time with Derrick, and he was rearing this to be his comeback tour. So he's ready, and he says he's ready. And he was ready for the best Dillian White that he had to bring to offer. So I think they were working on a game plan to actually give him more motivation to take White out this time. So I think you're actually going to see a way better AJ that was willing and ready to take on a game Dillian White than Helenius is ready for. So no, I don't see Helenius being able to do anything except getting his ass beat like usual.
Well, it says here that he last fought in April, so it's not like a long layout for AJ. But he was fighting Jermaine Franklin Jr. I think we saw him again on the top ranked card. He's a decent fighter. He's a decent fighter, but I feel like he fought the wrong game with Anthony Joshua. While Helenius, he's been out since, let's see. Oh no, wait. How is that even possible?
What's that?
Well, they got the wrong date up here because they got August 5th for this year, talking about somebody named Mika. I guess
Helenius just fought last Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, so that is correct.
Yes.
Oh, so wow, they're gonna already put him back in the ring.
Yes, that's how desperate.
Where is this fight? Where is this fight at? What state? Does anybody know?
Got it. This is in at the O2 Arena.
Yeah, this is O2.
Okay, so he had knocked out. Okay, so here in the States, if you get injured, then you're out for you have to be out for like 3 weeks, I believe, or 14 full days or something like that. But I guess he wasn't injured because he knocked the guy out. So maybe that's how this allowed. Plus, they're not fighting in the United States, so it goes under the BBBFC instead of, ABC type rules. So I mean, I guess it's okay.
That just goes to show even more, though, that the fight's kind of a joke. Like you're supposed to take on a former world champ when you just fought last Saturday.
I didn't realize that. I just looked it up to see when's the last time he fought, because it wasn't televised or anything that Helenius had fought this past week, I don't believe. So that's kind of a shocker.
The thing I'll say about Helenius, and the only really attribute that I would say that could give him some problems, is his height and his size. I mean, he's how many times has AJ had to fight somebody that's actually taller than him? Rare, but is that really going to matter? I guess we'll see. I really don't think it is.
I feel like Helenius is a decent fighter, though. I mean, for heavyweights, what we're dealing with right now, he does have some boxing skills, and he does have a great jab. So, Helenius is a nightmare, right?
I believe so. I think that's his.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything to me that he's in Derek James' camp.
He's the Nordic nightmare, and this fight is just that, a nightmare. Go to sleep on it.
Yeah, it's not great. But...
Next topic, Lucas.
Well, of course, next we're going to talk a little bit better of a card here. We're talking Navarrete versus Valdez, guys. Rob, I know you're excited for this one.
Navarrete-Valdez. Continuing on the theme this year, great matchups. This is a great matchup. Navarrete has been dominating those lower divisions for years. What is Rob's litmus test, everybody? You know what I'm going to answer? 130 pounds or better.
You went back to 130 now instead of 135.
Navarrete is now reached Rob's threshold to be able to tell how great of a fighter he is. And this matchup with Valdez is the toughest he can face in the division. I'm ultimately excited to see this matchup. This is not what y'all have seen with Innuendo dominating a Fulton. This is not going to be a Crawford dominating Spence. This one is actually going to be a tough fight. And whoever's will wants it more, that's who's going to win this fight. The styles, they can kind of do both. Valdez can box you, but then he gets baited into a war when he gets hit or hurt. Navarrete can hurt Valdez. He has the power to do it. Navarrete is going to come at you, going to pressure you, going to bait you into a brawl. I see this one being a chess match turning into a great brawl. And when that happens, everybody wins. This one could be fight of the year.
Oh. Okay.
Fight of the year, you think so?
It's because of what's at stake, Lucas. It's because of what's at stake. Navarrete wins this, his name should end up on the top 10 pound for pound.
No.
Brett
We are not finna do that. No.
Brett says Navarrete got stopped by the Australian with the stalling for the time at the mouth.
I was about to say,
Valdez is better than him.
Yes, Brett. Yes, Brett. That's exactly what I was gonna say. He looked like shit in his last fight. Now, granted, he did have a long layoff. We're talking about Valdez right now. But on the flip side, Navarrete didn't look that hot in his fight. He was about to be on his feet until off his feet until he just woke up and knocked this guy out. He
willed that victory. That was victory.
That was a heart victory, right? That was a heart victory. Will he be able to repeat that again? He is not a slick boxer. He comes straight for you, and his last opponent showed those blueprints to Valdez. Now the thing with Valdez, what I'm seeing is he's slowing down now. You know what I'm saying? He's not like that guy that out slick boxed Burchelt. He hasn't been that guy for a minute, especially with changing his training team over to Reynosa, who is all about coming forward and taking charge and whooping asses, taking names. So he's like changing his style up a little too. So that's what makes this fight intriguing for me. But neither one of them will be on the pound for pound top 10 list. I don't believe. There's too many great names out there right now. And also, just to say, 130 is like their domain to play in, both of them. Like there's
Right.
nowhere, there's no other competition that can give them trouble unless Figueroa, the younger Figueroa, was that Omar? Or that's Brandon? No, Brandon. So Brandon Figueroa, he might be up in that weight class, giving either one of them problems. So it's just, then again, they might decide that Fulton needs to do a rematch with Figueroa. But either way, those two divisions kind of, they kind of go hand in hand. But what I'm saying is there's no, like if you win this fight, there's no real dominant fight that you could do mega fight wise, unless Figueroa or Fulton, goes up to 130. Because right now, Fulton was at 122 for the NUA fight.
No, they were at 126.
I thought they was at 122.
Or was it 122? He
Well,
might be 122. He might be trying to move up to
yes, correct. Because if Brandon Figueroa moved up to 126, so we're talking about, it's a good mix up, but they would have to get to 130. So it's still like whoever wins this fight, they don't have any other competition. They would have to move up to 135. And that's what I really interested too. I just want to see like whoever wins. If it's Navarrete, he could definitely be 135 pounder. He could fit in that division. But for Valdez, he might be stretching his limits on his weight and size.
Well, Valdez, I believe, already moved up. He moved back down again because he couldn't handle the competition.
Right. So there we go. Like I'm saying, there's nowhere for them to go. They either have to wait for some more competitors to move up to that 130 zone, or Navarrete has to move up regardless. So that's what makes the fight interesting to me, just to see like where they go from here.
Lucas, we cannot hear you.
Oh, Lucas talking.
Oh man. No, I think I like Navarrete in this fight, guys. I'm not agreeing with Brett. I'm strongly thinking Navarrete just plainly outworks Valdez in this. Not to mention he does have a longer reach, but that would be mine. I would say probably lean towards unanimous decision for Navarrete. I was wanting to get predictions. Let's see. Brett Tank Davis gave a boxing lesson.
Yeah, I just 30. Feel. Go ahead, Rob.
That was 35.
I just feel like it's gonna be a situation where hopefully Valdez is in his best shape of his life, and he will need to be that in order to face someone with the will that Navarrete has. And so from round one, if he doesn't look like he's like up for that challenge, we're gonna know it right away. I believe we're gonna know like, oh, this is the old Valdez right here. He ready for some smoke. Or it's gonna be like, he's over his head with Navarrete tonight because he ain't trying to lose no fights. We all seen that.
You're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right. And to answer Brett, I think Brett is talking Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson gave Valdez, I believe, a boxing lesson, and
Yes.
it was at 135. After that fight, Valdez moved back down to 130. Navarrete moved up. That's why this, to me, it definitely rings bells of fight of the year, because Valdez wants that validation. He dared to be great. He fought Shakur Stevenson at the higher weight. Couldn't get it done.
Valdez. Mhm.
That Oscar, right. Couldn't get it done. So now they decided to go back to 130, where he believes he can rule this division.
But I thought Shakur was at 130 for that fight.
No, I
Because
think
he
it was the
moved up
fight
to
he moved up.
135.
That was the fight I believe he moved up to 135.
Let's see.
That's very weird. But what I'm saying to you guys is that
That was at 130 against Shakur.
yeah, like it was before Shakur moved up.
Mhm.
But he still did teach him he taught him a boxing lesson. He's bred is right. The thing I don't understand is, how did he look so good against Burchell when he was outboxing Burchell? Remember that fight? He was doing
That-
a lot of outpointing him
That's a
masterfully.
good point. But that's wars Burchell had been through. That's wars. That's timing on him as well. There's timing on his career. You're looking at Navarrete, who's in his prime. Navarrete, again, this is why I feel it's the fight of the year. Ringing bells the fight of the year. Navarrete has a point to prove to the whole boxing world. Who he is, what he's made of. Saturday night, that's what it's time for. Valdez doesn't have that validation yet to say he rules the division. He's the king here. He wants that title too, as well.
I
And
guess the question I got for both of you guys is, what kind of fight do you expect to see? Because is it going to be like a
that's what I was,
classic style clash?
that's what it is.
Valdez going to outbox or try to outbox Navarrete? Is Navarrete going to try to use his jab and just stick and move forward all night? Like, what kind of fight do you think this is going to, or could it all be a brawl in a minute? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
I actually want to change mine. I honestly think Navarrete is going to stop him. So, just the way I see it, I don't see it like Valdez is going to try to go out on a shield. I think he's going to throw a lot and try into hopes to hit Navarrete while he's throwing. I just don't see it happening. And for me, I think Valdez, the reach is not there. He's going to have to work too hard. I just don't see it. I see Navarrete winning this fairly easily.
Shakur, there is a style clash. The best fights you'll ever see are matchups where there are style clashes, and the game plan,
best and the worst,
the trainers, the instructions, the adjustments go out the window, and they say, you know what, I'm gonna have to outwill this guy in fight. Those are the best matches that you'll ever get in boxing, and to me, we don't get enough of that right now. But damn it, it's time. It's time. You guys are going to have to say, Navarrete's going to have to say, he's boxing me well. I need to get him to brawl. And Navarrete has punches, like Lucas says, that can make him feel that power. Make him have to lose his style. Make him have to go another notch. And that's what I want to see. And that's what I'm hoping and expecting to see in this fight, is that they just say, screw it. Let's just fight, and the best man win.
Perfect way to end that.
Looks like Valdez is the favorite
right now.
That's on boxing merit. He's a better boxer. Reynoso, They've done wonders with him in that aspect. At this fight, Navarrete's a dog. He's gonna have to outwit him.
This is I mean, it's still close. There's definitely no clear winner for Vegas. I mean, they have those odds pretty damn close. So doesn't change my thought process any. And just like you said, Rob, I don't see the style clash working out for Valdez. I knew his arms were bigger, but I just pulled it up here. Look, Navarrete reach is crazy. Yeah. It's like 72 inches. Meanwhile, we got 66 for Valdez.
Wow, so that's a big difference.
Huge difference, yeah.
Well, we have to see though, because he, he's like Rob is saying, he's easy to get baited into just a brawl, even though he does have advantages over his opponents. He's that type of fighter. That's who he is.
That's fair. Brett says Navarrete too slow, in my opinion.
You could argue with that. I don't think so. I think he throws a lot of punches and bunches. I think he had that advantage being in the lower weights to make him seem a little faster than what people might suggest.
Well, I mean, the dude throws a hell of a lot of punches, so you're bound to slow down after punch 700 or so. And that's another point, is even if he makes it out, Navarrete leaves so much work out there that it's impossible for the judges to not see. So even if he doesn't get the stoppage, I think he's winning. It's just a matter of how. But Valdez leaves a lot sometimes. You know what I mean?
How old is Navarrete? Because, he did seem to be a little slower
28
in that last fight. How?
28.
Yeah, that's still prime time.
Yeah, I mean,
not unless it was the extra weight he put on.
Well, that could be it too, but
I mean, just getting used to the extra weight is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Valdez 32, but I don't know. I'm interested in the fight, but I definitely agree with Rob. I think this one is going to be definitely a style clash, and whoever style comes out on top is who's winning this. Rob, did you have anything else? Did you have? It's been a while for rapid fire. We need to get that back in the
man. There's a lot of topics out there, but we could go all night, and y'all ain't trying that, so we save it for later.
All right. I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Rob, we'll definitely have rapid fire next week, right, Rob? No matter what.
I have it now, but again, we gonna go all night. So we'll say,
Is this something that can still go for next week?
Next week.
All right. So number one, we got to bring up this bullshit with Keith Thurman and Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, that's a good topic. It's a good topic.
We do have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Say that for next week.
Okay.
Well, now I'm hearing that she called out Jake Paul.
That too. Yeah.
That too. Let's do a segment next week with the call outs. Let's do that, because you also have Keith calling out Bud. So yeah, let's do that next week. Rapid fire next week. Call outs. Send them.
All right. Definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in again. Everyone follow us on all social media at Heavy Bag Boxing. Check us out, www.heavybagboxing.com. The show's going to be aired 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday. Check us out. Have a good night.